This is our paranormal podcast because this is our paranormal community, and we want to support you here on RU Media Network. We are proud to be sponsored by the Haunted Hinsdale House in Hinsdale, New York. Here are your hosts, Brian Mersall and Sean Gilmore.
Welcome, everybody, to our paranormal podcast. Sorry about the late start there. I had some IT issues here, but we're smooth rolling now, guys. I even tried the new countdown. It's not new. It's always been there, but new to me, I never noticed it. I was like, how do people do that countdown thing? I was like, you know what? We're going to try it. And so there it is. There it was, and here we are. Brian, how are you doing this week?
Good, real good. And it was actually nice because as we were working on all the different, computer issues, we got to, get to know our friends a little more and, welcome them to the RU Media. And, we're just excited to have another quality, content-rich show on RU Media. So, other than that, I was excited for this all week, and I'm excited to have a great night with you guys. So.
Yeah, definitely. We actually got to meet Ken's better half. That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody, man, I'm so excited for this for tonight's show. Tonight's show, we have had Ken plan to come on for the longest time, and we had so many topics that we wanted to talk about, such as spirit possession of dolls and other things and so much other stuff. But then Ken's like, hey, I'm starting a new podcast on RU Media. So now tonight's show, we have Mistress Bee on, and we are introducing to RU Media the Wizard's Table. Man,
Wizard's Table.
Look at that. These images that you guys come up with they're so kick-ass. Look at that. They're just awesome. And
yeah, they're really nice.
And I know that you guys have a really awesome plan for your show and what your show is going to be about. Now, you guys are still going to have guests and stuff, but your topics are what's going to be different.
Yes.
So
we want to go to the extreme because it needs to be done. It needs to be done. These things need to be talked about. We need to get people on here who live extreme alternative lifestyles, extreme alternative spiritual paths. We want to get, I know, everybody's done Satanists. Okay, big deal. Everybody's done Satanists. A theistic Satanist would be nice. A Levian, okay, whatever. I could take it or leave it. I definitely want to get some modern vampires on. We have a cryptozoologist who's going to come on, who lives here in the same county I do. We have a black witch from Italy. I forgot to tell you about her. She's coming.
Nice.
We also have a sorcerer from Australia who's coming on, who's a demonologist, and we are also going to have a guy who has sex with demons on purpose.
That one's news to me too, but I'm so excited.
So wait a minute. I don't know if you guys heard about the woman that she got married to a spirit or a demon, but they've now they're now divorced.
Yeah.
I don't this is like a real thing. Wow. This is crazy. That's awesome. So real quick, I really want to hear about your guys' backgrounds and how you guys are coming about to this show. Ken, you've been on our show. We've talked to you. A lot of our viewers have seen you, but we're going to get back to you, okay? Sure. Mistress Bee, you're brand new. This is my first time seeing you kind of face to face. Tell us about Mistress Bee. How did you get here? How did you and Ken meet? And what does your new show mean to you?
Well, I was raised pretty Christian and in a pretty strict, like this is the way it goes household. And I've never been like that. I've always been the girl that is always asking why and always trying to figure out more and more. So when I went to college, I majored in forensic anthropology, and that's kind of where I found my love for the alternatively creepy stuff. And about 2, maybe 3 years ago at this point, I started to dive into tarot, and I loved it. I fell in love with it, and I just wanted to find out more. And incidentally, I met Ken because I fell in love with a boy, and I moved to Florida, and Ken happens to be his other father. And so Ken and I we kind of connected instantly, as I did with Gage's dad, Kevin, and it's been great. And he talked about doing a podcast and asked if I could help him set it up. And I was like, yeah, sure, I can totally do that. And we were talking about the podcast and getting excited. And then he asked if I wanted to co-host, and I was like, okay, I guess we're doing it. And we were talking and just discussing how there's so much of this like love and light sort of magic already that we want to fill in the void, because there's so much more to magic than just love and light and positive manifestations.
Oh,
Amen.
okay. Because that seems to be like really the most, I guess, popular way of expressing is light and love, and everything like that. So to like hear the other side of it definitely would be very, very interesting, because it doesn't mean it's bad, right?
No, it doesn't. Not at all. No.
And I think that's what so much of what people have been taught to fear is that if it's not, some sort of prayer or just a ring of salt around the door, then it's probably evil and is probably going to get you killed or worse. But there's so much more to it. And I'm excited to show people that side and kind of challenge their preconceived notions about a lot of this. Because, like, I know people that work with demons and they're not evil. They've never sacrificed a child. So, we're already knocking down barriers.
Exactly. I mean, I work with demons. One of my protectors is a demon, Ouroboros. Ouroboros is a very powerful demon. He's the 55th spirit in the Goetia. And I will call upon him sometimes to get rid of other demons. Hell, I've even had to call upon him because people were being harassed by archangels. See, even angels can harass and aggravate people. Holy angels. So I've had to call upon the demon Ouroboros to get rid of angels because they were harassing people. You don't hear that side.
No, you sure don't. Usually when you think of angels, I know myself, I think of like they're guiding and protecting us.
And these aren't fallen angels I'm talking about. These are holy angels harassing these people. So I called in a demon to get rid of this holy angel.
So out of curiosity, what would make, or why would an angel harass people to the point where it's a problem that needs to be solved?
A lot of them become lonely. They honestly, they become lonely. They become complacent in their duties. In the cosmos, they have been given duties, and they're pretty stationary in those duties. So it's like they get bored, basically.
Okay.
They get bored.
Kind of similar to the way
It
in all
really does
those,
come down to
that Greek mythology, in every story you just kind of hear, well, the gods got bored, so they decided to just mess with people because they can.
Right.
Okay. I mean, that doesn't sound too different than why people say, some people say that demons will mess with people too. They get bored.
Yeah.
You get the attachments because of opportunity. So it doesn't sound like there's too big of a difference then from what you're saying.
No, one is just considered holy and the other one's considered unholy and or infernal. But both can be very destructive. Absolutely.
Okay.
Interesting.
I mean, you don't hear a whole lot about this. This is why you guys are doing the podcast. So,
Exactly.
I mean, There's
some of the stuff that we want to talk about. These are things that we want to cover. Nobody's talking about it. I can't believe nobody's done anything like this before.
Well, it's not what's the mainstream, right? It's going outside of the box. Most people, they want to play it safe and they stay in the box, right? The box of the basic, positive ideal, right? And I mean, before Brian was the co-host, I had Zarina Crow as my co-host, and she was a chaos witch, and she worked with chaos magic. So that's not too far off. She would say a lot of kind of the same things to me as you're saying now. So, and she told me about jinns and how jinns can actually be helpful.
Absolutely, they can. I've had one with me since I was 6 years old. He's a protector. I've actually seen him before. He's quite frightening to anyone else, but not to me. I never was afraid of him. First time I saw him, I was 6 years old.
Wow.
I think that there's
and it was in the bathroom. Now, the fact that he manifested in the bathroom strongly correlates to Islamic myth that a lot of jinns like to hang out in bathrooms.
And then
I'm sorry. I'm not putting you guys down. I just have to make that clear. I think of when someone brings up a demon in a bathroom, I think of the Go Gothin. I don't know. I don't know if you guys are into movies, but there's a movie that's a satire on Catholicism, and there is a shit demon, and it's called a Go Gothin, and it comes out of a toilet.
Well, the Japanese have spirits like that. You know that, don't you? The Japanese have spirits that hang around in bathrooms, and they eat human feces.
Tasty.
Farm to table.
Right. I am going to have to log out and log back in because somebody tried to call me, and I can barely hear you guys.
Okay.
You need to tell people to stop calling you.
I have. It just doesn't do any good. I'll be right back.
Well, that's all right. So,
and B, you said you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was going to say that I think what is so important about things like chaos magic and goetic magic and talking about it is that so many people's approach to magic is kind of similar to bowling with the bumpers up. You know, there's almost nothing bad that can happen to you when all you're doing is, using candle magic and doing tarot and manifesting. And I'm not knocking that at all. Actually, candle magic and tarot are kind of my bread and butter right now. Those are what I've been really diving deep into, and divination. But there's no risk involved into it. And I think that that's why it's been accepted into the mainstream, because there's no negativity really attached to it, especially now in the days of like challenging old school stereotypes about stuff. We're not going to get demonized if we play tarot or, the old school, what is it? Light as a feather, stiff as a board. That stuff isn't seen as evil as much as it once was. And so I think that we just got to keep barreling down those stuff, play with the bumpers off a little bit, risk it.
Yeah, what I find is refreshing is someone like you that can use analogies in such a powerful way that really illustrates exactly what you're trying to say, because a lot of the things that, we try just even in the paranormal field to explain comes across so abrasive or so, outlandish, quote unquote, but using metaphors like bowling, with the bumpers on, I feel like that's so easy to grasp for everyone. I think that's going to really help you get your message across.
I think it will too, because there's so much we don't know, and so much of the, especially within the paranormal community. First of all, when you grow up, most people, they grow up in one of the major religions, right? Whether if it's some form of Christianity, Islam, Judaism, or any of those. But in none of those do they really get into the nitty gritty of it and really explain the real truth behind everything. I've met a couple Satanists, and a lot of their ideals are not very different. And there's a lot of ignorance around these practices and around these beliefs. And I think that it's awesome that you guys are going to bring light to that. No pun intended.
Yeah.
But really, because that's the only way to fight ignorance. Ignorance is just from not knowing, right? It's not your fault you don't know. That's why it's ignorance and not stupidity. So you bring on and you educate people so they're not ignorant. That is awesome to help people in that way. And honestly, with us in the paranormal community, we need to know these things. We need to know these things. We go into someone's home, we don't know, or if we go into a location, we don't know what's going on there. And if we go about it the wrong way, then not only are we putting ourselves in danger, we're putting the client in danger. So this is all stuff that we all need to be open to. At least the information, right?
I think definitely, even if you just learned all the names, because there's a lot of power in calling an entity by its name. So even
Absolutely.
if you just went through and learned all the names, we can even get you a set of. Ken has these really cool tarot cards. You can just flip through them, go for it. But there's so much more out there that I think is really exciting because we don't know, and so many people don't. But we're going to teach them.
Yeah.
Love it.
And once you have the name of that entity, and I'll use goetic spirits, demons for that example. Once you know the name of that demon, you have power over that demon. For example, Paimon. Paimon is second only to Lucifer, very loyal to Lucifer. Some say Lucifer's Raphael is second only to Lucifer, but I will argue with that, and that would take hours. Not going to go there. But Paimon, you know the name of Paimon, and if you know his N, which is a quick way to get control of him, a quick way to invoke him, then you have control over that entity, Paimon. And Paimon, his N is Jaden Tasa Hoek Naka Paimon. Okay? Orobos, for example, is Jaden Tasa Hoek Naka Orobos. You say that in, you got him. You don't have to go through all the Catholicism and the Roman. I mean, I've done Roman Catholic exorcisms, but you don't necessarily have to go that route to get control of these entities and say, "Hey, what are you doing here?"
It's almost like in those spy movies where the guy's sneaking into some sort of secret base and all the dogs come running up and the one guy gives one command in some language, usually German, and the dogs stop. And this is the same thing. You got to know the right command and it'll stop.
Yeah, it's like a back door to handling it. So,
Okay.
So what would be a good way for people to research the names?
the names of these of the goetic spirits?
Yeah.
Any of the Solomonic grimoires are really the best way to go, honestly. Any of the Solomonic grimoires. The Lesser Key of Solomon. Yep.
Okay.
I would go with the Lesser Key of Solomon.
There's a bunch of cool new literature coming out about it. Like I said, Ken has a whole tarot set. There was also a Kickstarter recently that put together a whole set of 55 coins that have all of the names on them. And those are kind of handy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I know Michelle Belanger, I think it was. She has a book of demons. Are you guys familiar at all? I have not seen that book. If anybody in the comments,
I have not.
I mean, I've seen the book, and it's on her website. But if anyone thinks that that's a good book, I've been contemplating on this book for the longest time.
Are you on Facebook?
And so I don't know. Oh yeah, Keys of Solomon. Look at this, Valerie. You and Valerie are right there on cue there. Valerie, guys, you guys have to check out her Facebook page. I just actually got this selenite disc thing from her.
That's awesome.
Oh
Yeah.
Oh, I get all sorts of stuff from her. I got this from her. I got skulls from her. Oh,
but there are back doors to access these demons, these entities, without going through the entire gamut of setting up a Solomonic circle. Yes, you want to use a minimum amount of protection. I do recommend using the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram. But once you have the demon's sigil, let's say Boone, for example, he governs so many things. He gives truthful answers. He helps to facilitate communication between the living and the dead. He helps to bring wealth. I've worked with him and I've won $500 like that. For example, his N to call him is Welch Malan Avaj Boon Tasa.
wow. Okay. So when you go and you call these demons or these spirits to you, and you ask them for something, what do you need to give in return?
Most of the time, well, first of all, there's no soul selling, okay? That's a bunch of bullshit. You don't make pacts and sell your soul.
Are you sure? Because today's music is like really bad. I'm sorry, I'm that old guy.
No, there's no soul selling involved in it. It's little things. Wine, sangria. They love real traditional sangria.
I like sangria.
So
maybe you're a demon.
I was just thinking that. I didn't know how to phrase it.
Ask my son. He might agree on. At times. Oh man.
But I'm very excited to get the guy on who has sex with demons. That should be interesting for everyone.
So there's a name for demons that have sex with people.
Incubus, succubus.
Yes.
Yep.
And so this guy must call these incubuses and succubuses to him to, like, I don't know, like.
It may not have originated that way, because a lot of times you'll see some sort of possession where you'll just get visited by an incubus or succubus, and it may have been, kind of a similar story to how we all met our partners. You meet, you fall in love kind of thing, and it may just have opened himself up to more, but he may have called them as well. I guess we're going to have to find out.
He liked what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about Cain. We're going to talk about Cain, the brother of Abel.
Okay.
The first witch who was born from Samael and Lilith through the body of Eve. The black and the red dragon, the first witch. We'll talk about him, and the black flame of the forge, because he was a blacksmith.
Real quick, Valerie wants to know, what is your advice when Lucifer comes to you often, or any other jinn, etc.? Do you recommend building the relationship and start working with them, or banish them?
I would start working with them. But you want to be cautious. You want to use a minimum amount of protection and see where it goes. If it's going somewhere that you think is not conducive to your life or constructive to your life, and call it quits. And you can do that through a banishing. And 99% of the time it works. But if they're coming to you like that, there's a reason. So don't just brush them off because of who they are, what they are.
But I think also just be prepared and know what you're doing. If you don't know any banishment rituals, if you don't feel like you have enough protection other than, like I mentioned earlier, just a salt circle, there's so much more that you can do for protection if you feel nervous. So just make sure that you have all your information and go in there knowing full well what you're getting into. Don't be afraid, just be prepared.
And ask people, and see I always assume people know, but yeah, you're right. And they need to ask. They need to ask somebody. If they don't know, research. Ask somebody. Seek somebody out. I'm always available. I'll help anybody. I don't care.
Do you think?
So that I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Do you think? Thank you. Do you think lack of knowledge leads to I don't know. I wouldn't say accidents, but the risk of doing this stuff, as well as it prevents people, like good people that would be good at it, for even entering the game, like the magic world.
I think definitely. I think it's kind of similar to the paranormal. If you don't know what you're doing, there's a real possibility to get hurt. And I think that luckily paranormal stuff is kind of shifting as it's becoming popularized. So it is so easy to get your hands on the knowledge. But, it used to just be teenagers going and playing in what they thought was haunted houses. And now it's totally changed. And I think that we're starting to go that way with a lot of the taboo things. So hopefully it'll get easier to get your hands on the knowledge and break down that barrier.
So if somebody wants to, with all this being said, and I'm sorry, Kat, I don't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
If somebody wants to start getting an interest into the occult or into the magic, what is the best way for someone to get started into that?
Oh, Lord. It's been a long time for me. So a lot of people are going to laugh at me when I say this, but I recommend, if you have never studied the occult in any way, shape, or form, pick up books by Scott Cunningham. Start with him. He's very unicorn, very fluff bunny, but start there.
And I think another good place that's a really easy kind of compendium of knowledge that I've had a little bit more luck with than Google, honestly, is Pinterest. That's been the only good thing about Fleetwood Mac getting repopular and all of the witchy stuff becoming, more of a trend, is that there's a lot of information on Pinterest that doesn't get blocked out by other stuff. So you can find some resources and just kind of take everything with a grain of salt. And like Valerie mentioned in her comment, see if you can find a mentor.
Yes.
Yeah, if you can find a mentor, that would be key. That would be prime.
Yeah. Awesome.
That's ribeye steak if you can find a mentor.
I like ribeye steak. All right. Valerie, he wants to know your take on succubus and incubus. What is your take on succubus and incubus coming to you in a dream often?
My opinion, that could be two things. One, you could be sexually suppressed and you need more. Or two, they're coming to you because you're sexually suppressed and you need more.
So you need to get more.
Basically, yeah. They want you. They don't. A succubus and incubus, they get such a bad rap, but sex and sexuality and that climax, that release, that's spiritual too. So they kind of oversee that. They're the guardians of that stuff.
There's a lot of power in that, actually. There's a whole like sex magic practice that you can go into that it gets pretty insane, especially like there's solo sex magic and of course sex magic with other people. And the deeper you get into it, it kind of feels taboo at first because of course it's sex and then some sort of, gain that you're getting from it outside of the sex. But it makes a lot of sense, that is a physiological response, an emotional response, a physical response. There's so much going on that it makes sense that it's that powerful of a influence.
Well, take chaos magic, for example. All right, when a chaos magician, a lot of times when a chaos magician creates a powerful magical sigil or a seal, he will perform autoerotica. And when he starts to climax, he will look directly at that seal, and that's what activates the magic. That's big in chaos magic. So if you tell somebody, what are you doing tonight? Oh, I'm going to fire off a sigil.
Now, when you say that, when we're talking, Ken and I talk often. Whenever you say something about doing a sigil, that's what I'm going to think of.
You're going to fire off a sigil?
Oh, jeez. You can't do that to an old perverted man. Oh.
Just make a sexy sigil.
So, wow.
That's a hashtag I've ever seen.
It is, right? So, these
yeah,
succubuses and incubuses must really like married couples, then.
Yeah, you know, and an incubus is a male, and a succubus is a female.
Yes.
But they can switch sexes. They're not one or the other. They switch according to whoever they're coming to.
And I think they only preferred married couples if the married couples are actually into what they're doing. Because I've known a few married couples who just do it because they have to.
But speaking of sex magic, on the Wizard's Table, we will be talking about a Luciferian sex magic ritual. I will go into detail about that, and I'm telling you, it's going to blow people's mind. Oh my God, Becky, look at her butt. It will blow your mind.
Can a succubus be a live person?
A live person can be possessed by one.
I think other than that, they're just called a horn dog.
Hashtag fire off the sigil.
You should get a bunch of
T-shirts and
towels with that on it.
towels make a lot more sense.
That's gonna be your guys' first merch there.
Go. We can get the golf towels with a little clip for easy access.
There you go.
Yes. What color candle do you use for that?
I wouldn't even know. There's so much color correspondence. It depends on what you want.
Right.
Wow. So.
And if your climax makes contact with the sigil, that's even better.
If your climax, so if your semen makes contact with your sigil that you drew, then that's
Yeah.
Is that the same as like blood, or is that stronger?
Blood is a little stronger, but because of the excitement, the body buzz you get from that release, in my opinion, I think the semen would be stronger.
That can come from either male or female, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
So
yes.
It's my personal opinion that female sex magic is a little bit stronger because it's harder to do.
You guys keep on saying sex magic. Like, I'm an old guy, and I think of Blood Sugar Sex Magic by Red Hot Chili Peppers.
See, they knew what they were talking about.
I love that album. It was one of my first albums I ever bought.
It's incredible.
Yeah. So with all of that, Ken, we originally wanted to talk about spirit attachments because, well, Brian was just reunited with Barb, and I actually just met Barb for the first time last week, and it's definitely interesting. Well, I had my time alone. I don't know if I captured anything. I haven't gotten to review any evidence or anything like that. But from my intuition, Barb feels safe with Brian. That's kind of what I tapped into. She feels safe with him. But, I mean, if a spirit feels safe with somebody, or if they feel any sort of way that they like, then or anything, right, then they can attach themselves to it. Do you think that that's a fair statement?
Yeah. Like here's inanimate objects, and I'm pretty sure you guys know this. Inanimate objects cannot be possessed, but spirits can attach to them.
Okay.
Or cursed, right? Can an inanimate object be cursed?
Absolutely, yes. And what do you think pushes that curse? Spirits. Dark spirits push curses. You don't have to call upon a dark spirit whenever you're putting a curse on someone, because they're going to answer that call. They have to. It's like they're programmed to do it. They have an obligation to back up that curse.
And thank you, Aaron. This is what she's doing tonight.
Oh wow!
Just chilling, hanging out. Shawn and I went on an investigation for the Our Paranormal podcast on Wednesday. We went to Madison Seminary. We brought Barb, and so Barb is staying at my good friend Becca's house. She's like she's basically the manager of Your Paranormal. I'm the leader, etc. But she's basically right there leading with me, and she's the one that houses Barb because she spent the most time investigating there, and Julia doesn't see it as safe as someone else would. So we have Barb there, but since the investigation, we haven't had time. They haven't had time to put her back in the attic. So she is just, where is it at? Chilling there on the kitchen table.
Nice.
So
do you have the Apache tier I gave you for it?
It's in there.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. I don't know.
What about the broken crucifix?
I still have that.
You have that?
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody really knows that story. So,
no, you need to share it.
So I got this. Ken knows the story, but I got Brian Saint Benedict crucifix as just a way of protecting himself or protect his home, whatever. Just a little thing to kind of make things at ease, so that hopefully Barb could come and stay at his home. Well, I got this crucifix. First of all, I ordered it off of Amazon, and I just liked the design of it. I didn't look at any of the specs, but I thought it was going to be like a decent sized wall hanging crucifix. Yeah, no, it was like literally like 2 inches. But so I got it. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll get him that. I was going to get him something else, and I put it down right here. I have a table. You can see some of my stuff here. And I have my computer desk here. I put it down here on my desk, and I went to pick it up, and I was going to bless it with some holy water for Brian and stuff, and it was broken. I noticed the St. Benedict medal was on the bottom of the clear casing that it came in. And I'm like, well, what the hell is this? And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, holy shit, this thing's broken. Like, how would this thing break? It's legitimately just sitting here on my desk. I mean, could I have put something on top of it? Yes, I could have. I don't think I did. I think I would have noticed it, and there would have been stuff on top of it. It was definitely like right here, right where I left it. And it was in a plastic like box thing that would have absorbed a lot of shock. So for it to break like that, to me, is just a puzzle within itself. So Ken and I were talking, and we're like, you know what? Maybe the crucifix was too strong of a symbol to give as a gift. Maybe that's the wrong thing. That's the message. And that's why I ended up with the Apache tier. I went into a metaphysical store, and I spent way too much time going all around the store trying to find the right thing. And I feel I've always loved Apache tier, so that's probably why I was drawn to that. But that's what I was drawn to, and that's what I ended up with. So hopefully that will help put the spirit at ease. Ken agree that would be a good idea to help. I mean, we're not looking to remove the attachment, right? Mm-hmm. We're not looking to have the spirit leave. We're not looking for anything. We just want it to be calm right? Like a spiritual CBD, if you will, right?
Right.
So it's just calming with the spirit, so it's safe to have in your home without negatively affecting you or your fiance.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Have you looked into jet stone? It's technically not a stone, it's actually petrified wood, and it's one of my favorites because it looks like it should be heavy, and you pick it up and it's lighter than styrofoam. So that in and of itself, that kind of guise, that lightness is really great. But it's one of the stones that you don't have to charge. So a lot of stones that you use, you have to clear out that negative energy for a while. And if you ever notice, quartz is a really good one to notice this, is that after it's done, if it's used up too much, it'll go cloudy or it'll crack.
Yes, it will.
So jetstone is really great because you don't ever have to charge it. It'll just keep absorbing and absorbing and absorbing.
So that's jetstone?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On my list.
I wrote that down. Yeah.
And quartz is one of my favorites because it can be imbued with so many different energies. But you're right. Once it's used up, it will cloud over or it will crack.
Yeah. And that may be what had happened to that crucifix, is that there's so much, energy in there anyways that it just couldn't handle it.
Yeah. Wow. But, there's something that most people can't handle. It's also very powerful. It's the Into the Abyss section of our podcast where we answer 13 fast fire questions as quick as possible, as thoroughly as possible. And we're going to get right down to it. Are you two ready?
I love this part. Yes.
Let's do it.
Who wants to go first?
I nominate Ken.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right. Ken, my friend, are you ready for the 13 fast fire questions?
Let's do it.
Here we go. And I'll say number 1 and number 13 to give you some context. All right, Ken?
Sure.
All right, here we go. Number 1, what's the origin story of the wizard table?
Say that again. I couldn't hear you.
Sorry, what's the origin story of the wizard's table?
It originally started with me. It's something I wanted to do to educate people and to get my way of thinking out there. Since I don't think inside the box, hell, I don't even have a box. I'm a practitioner of the dark arts, and I want to let people know that, hey, the dark arts aren't evil.
Okay. Why are you so passionate about magic?
It's been with me all my life. All my life. I've never been away from it. I don't know. I think I was born to do this. I think it was predestined. I must have been something in a past life. I just, it's part of my soul and my spirit. It's breath. It's breath.
Wow. What's the positive impact in studying magic on someone's life?
Mental discipline, a lot of mental discipline, a lot of mental strength, a lot of mental discipline, and taking control of your life, being your own authority. Gotcha. That's what I think. Yep.
And how does someone keep themselves safe from magic / the paranormal?
You don't always. You can't always keep yourself safe. You can use many different methods, many different techniques, holy water, crucifixes, the Lord's Prayer, et cetera, et cetera. All you can do is have faith in yourself and in your abilities and the powers that you work with.
Why is it that knowing the name of an entity gives you power over it?
Because to know the true name of something is it comes down to creation. Okay, a lot of people don't know this, but when the first words out of God's mouth was abracadabra, I create what I speak. So yeah, man. I mean, just knowing the name of something, knowing the true name, the true origin of that name, gives you power over it always and forever. Like I have a name, a true name that nobody knows, and I won't ever give it out to nobody.
Very good. And What is the most interesting thing about skinwalkers?
Anybody could be a skinwalker. That's one of the most interesting things. Anybody can be a skinwalker. I've actually done that shit before, bro. I've done it. I woke up in the middle of the night with leaves and dirt on my feet from several times, and I know I was doing it. I know I was doing it. But anybody can be a skinwalker. Now, your dark skinwalkers, your evil skinwalkers, they do that shit on purpose to become skinwalkers. The Navajo people, the Navajo witches, they become skinwalkers, and the way they do it is they have to kill a family member on purpose to gain the power to become a skinwalker. That's the truth.
Wow. And in sharing all this, knowledge, have you ever considered, making some kind of easy to read guide, to the world of magic, or even how to start, some kind of guide?
Yeah, I do want to write. We talked about a little bit last time about some of my journals, but I want to take it a step further.
Good.
Yeah, I do want to write a book. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I know we were alluding to earlier about safety, but why is shielding so important?
Shielding is important because you can literally be taken over by an entity. The magic itself, even without intelligence behind it, you can go crazy. It can make you go absolutely bonkers. You can go crazy. You can hurt yourself or hurt other people. So when you practice magic, especially magic of this nature, of the dark arts, you have to shield yourself. No matter what you're doing, you need to shield yourself. You need to know a minimum amount of protection. And I highly recommend the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram. I've never went wrong with that.
Okay. Now, when you have this podcast going on, people your DMs are going to flood. People are going to be wanting to know how to get into magic. How do they start? I mean, what's your response to these people? How do you recommend them get involved and start?
I'm going to have to take that on a case by case. Yeah, I've already considered that I would be flooded out. So yeah, case by case, depends on the person and depends on the question.
Yeah.
So
okay. And what's the most haunted object you've ever seen?
I have a gin ring that's haunted.
Okay.
I have a gin ring that's haunted, and I've had it for a long time. And I've had it locked up in several cabinets made out of cedar. And I have found it on various altars, 8, 9, 10, 12 foot away. I've found it underneath my pillow. I've found it on top of the refrigerator. I've found it inside other cabinets. And I've had dreams about it whispering to me.
Yeah.
So it has a gin inside of it. And once in a while, I'll take a little eyedropper and put some wine in it and feed it.
Okay. Now, if someone hears like our podcast and they're like, oh, ghosts, and specifically they're listening to this one, they go, oh, magic, what? And they don't want nothing to do with magic or the paranormal. I mean, what's their best bet in trying to avoid this stuff?
Oh. Go live in a nunnery.
Just go live in a nunnery.
Take your ass to a nunnery.
Go live on hallowed grounds, right?
Right. Because it's everywhere.
Oh my gosh. All right. 2 more here. What's the 3 most important things to know about magic? If you had to know about 3 things about magic,
yeah,
what would be the 3 that you'd recommend?
Know your limitations, know your craft, and be your own authority.
Wow. This man is absolutely prepared. All right, number 13, last one. Where do you see your podcast in the next 5 years? 5 years goes by. I mean, where do you see it?
Where do I see it?
Yeah.
I see it being one of the biggest podcasts out there. I do. I really do. Yep.
And we did too.
We definitely do. We see huge things coming for RU Media, and you guys come in and bring in this whole other side of everything. It's going to be awesome.
I think, just making sure that we have traction, because maybe some people might not understand what kind of message we're getting across. With partnering with RU Media, I mean, you're going to get so much traction.
Yeah.
And, right off the bat, it's a huge running start, and I think it's only downhill. It's only downhill from there, uphill from there. It's just lots of success, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Right?
Easier, yeah. Easier success.
Easy access, is that good?
No. All right, B, are you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. And again, I'm going to go ahead and say number 1 and number 13 to give you some context of where we're at.
All right.
Here we go. Number 1. How did you get into the paranormal / magic world?
I really started to question my religious upbringing, and I started looking into other religions and drawing some parallels between them. And, a lot of other religions, you're taught that they're bad. And so once I figured out that there were so many fundamental paramounts between them, it just kind of opened up the doors to, okay, what else have I misjudged? Like I said, I got started with tarot, and I've been hooked ever since.
And have you ever conducted a paranormal investigation?
I have not. I'm kind of a scaredy pants, and I have had one paranormal experience, and it was enough to cure me of all of it. If you guys want to take me, I'm down to go, but I'm a screamer, and somebody has to hold my hand.
Hey, that sounds like an absolute plan there.
I think we need to make this happen now.
We're going to.
We're going to road trip to Florida.
All right, let's do it.
Florida, meet in the middle, Ohio, whatever it takes, right?
Oh, there we go. We can go somewhere in like Georgia.
Yeah.
Or Alabama. I don't know.
We can make it a little series. We can do a whole road trip called We Scare Bee.
Yeah. We get you are the marketing genius. I mean, it just rolls off the tongue. So what are you drinking tonight? I see this black can. What are we drinking?
Ironically enough, it's this way. It's called Original Sin, and it's this blackberry cider, and it's delicious.
Tell us about it. What is it?
I mean, honestly, it tastes like juice. I really like ciders for in the evening if you're not looking for something heavy. My other half is a huge beer drinker, and I'm a huge beer drinker, but every once in a while you can't drink an IPA. So these are nice because they have all the alcohol and none of that beer bloatiness or anything.
That's awesome. It's got a lot of power there. And speaking of which, what's the most powerful stone / gem in your opinion?
I've heard a lot of crazy things about Moldavite recently, but as I mentioned, Jetstone, I think that is one of the most powerful things that I've ever experienced. Just because there's so much going on, and I've tried every different stone and to try and take away, like working on anxiety or anything like that. And Jet was the only one. I picked it up, and it felt like somebody lifted me on my feet again. I think the only other one that I would be a little bit wary of is angel aura, because I slept with an angel aura quartz one time, and that was the craziest dream. It felt like I lived an entire lifetime.
Wow.
I need one of those.
Yeah.
They're really pretty. So
I've actually heard about those lately. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. Beautiful tapestry, by the way. But what's the significance behind the tapestry that's behind you?
Honestly, it's just kind of my aesthetic. I really like mandalas and the concentration and the symmetry behind them and the expressiveness behind them. And I just love darkness with a little splash of gold. That's kind of me in a nutshell.
Yeah. Does clothing play a role in the world of magic?
I think it definitely can. There's a lot of color correspondence in magic, and there's you can argue that tightness and looseness of clothing can be symbolic in whatever you're trying to do. There's so much intention behind magic that if you ascribe something with a meaning and with power, it'll have that power. So when I'm doing something for attracting something to me, I'll wear a lot of white, or if I'm attracting something financially, I'll wear something green because of those color correspondences. But that's only because I ascribe to those beliefs, and so I give it that power.
Okay. And so what I love about you is just the powerful way that you can throw analogies out there and make, complicated concepts simple. Like if someone comes after you after the show and says, you were talking about learning entities' names, and they said, what's the best way to learn all these powerful entities' names so I at least have some control? What is the best way?
Personally, I really think that getting that tarot set that Ken has would be great, because you can treat them just like flashcards, and there's a depiction of them. Some of them are really cute. There's an owl demon that I think he's adorable. I can't remember his name right now because I haven't learned all of them yet. But I think that doing something like that, something that's repetitive and something that doesn't make it seem scary. We're not studying a scroll of names written in blood or anything. They're just little cards. And so I think that having that fast action and not something that's really intimidating would be really good for people.
Quizlet for owl demons, yeah?
Yeah, basically.
I love it. This is good. Have you ever considered, moving some of your future podcasts content to say TikTok, Pinterest, etc., other social medias?
I've definitely been interested in it. Pinterest is one of those social media accounts that's kind of hard to get into if you don't have a steady stream of content. So I haven't gotten into it yet, and it lends itself best to written media and images. So we have a lot of images, but we don't have a lot of the written media to back them up. So if Ken ever wanted to share some information, it would be too easy for me to just create a graphic and get it done. I think TikTok would be amazing. The only hang up with that is just our geographical locations. But I think when we get together, we do all sorts of crazy stuff that TikTok would be so much fun. And I think it would be a really good way to get that other knowledge out there, because so many of this other sometimes erroneous knowledge is getting shared on TikTok anyway. So let's just hop in and show them what they're missing.
Yeah. Describe the link between magic and art.
I think there's so much of a link between magic and art. I think that it's a pretty common saying that when you create a piece of art, you're putting your soul into it. And I think that when you're doing magic, you're putting your soul into it too. You're taking all of your intention, all of your hopes, all of your dreams, and you're putting it into this thing. My first mentor in magic, she always said, you are the magic in your magic. And so that has always stuck with me. You don't need fancy materials. You don't need a lot of this stuff if you believe in yourself. And I think that creating art is so much the same way, that it is just like doing magic. You're creating something out of nothing, just that came from you.
Yeah. Wow. You alluded to something earlier about some wonderful, wonderful memories with the paranormal that you had in your past. What's the craziest paranormal experience you've ever had?
I've only had 1 or 2 paranormal experiences. The first one, I didn't know what was going on. I've always been really empathetic, and I think that's why I've stayed away from anything paranormal, because if anything's going on, I'm going to be the first one to feel it, and I'm going to feel it really intensely. And I was in this older neighborhood in my home state of Washington, and there's this portion that still has a lot of the original houses that were there, and there was a lot of slavery in that area just over the time. And I was babysitting these little girls. They had just moved into the house, and I'd known them for years. And they're at that mischievous age. So they were like, Bree, come up this way. This is the servant staircase. And I was like, this is a bad idea, but let's do it. Sure. I've got 3 little girls. I can outrun them. Well, they outsmarted me. 2 of them ran up first. One of them stayed behind and ran down. They closed the doors on me and turned off the lights. And immediately it felt like I was dropped into a horror movie. all I could hear was just a chorus of screaming. And I've never felt anything like it. And it wasn't my imagination, because everything, all of my other senses were perfectly fine. I wasn't seeing anything. I wasn't even really hearing it, because I could still hear what was going on. It was like in my soul, and it was terrifying, and I started crying. Well, I don't mess with it anymore, because I don't know what else I can attune to.
Shawn and I would definitely be crying too, don't worry.
As an empath, I'll tell you what. Wow. And actually, hold on, go. Do you know Alex Gray?
Mm-mm.
The artist? Look it up.
It's not familiar, no.
Look him up.
All right.
So most paranormal people, they go talk to walls in the dark for 8 hours during investigations, or that's like the skeptic part. But like they go talk to ghosts and whatnot, but they never get too deep into the paranormal, or they never get too deep into the magic side of things. They're interested, curious about the paranormal, but they never do that deep dive into the magic. What do you think is the best way to build that bridge or build that connection between the two fields?
I think they're kind of already connected, because if you subscribe to the belief in, the paranormal, and you believe in spirits, if humans can do that, and if there is a spirit realm, everything else that's in the spirit realm has to be there too. You know what I mean? And if there's any sort of demonic possession, then you've already admitted that demons exist. So why wouldn't demonic magic exist? Why wouldn't the rest of it exist? It's kind of one of those, if you have one, you have to have the other. Yeah. So I think that if there's more education on the magic side of it, the parallels are already drawn there. And as long as you can break down the fear, it's easy. You're going to realize how they co-align, because they're already there.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So last two questions here. How do you protect yourself against these negative entities?
Personally, I am really into drawing on to my ancestors' powers. There's a lot of ways that you can protect yourself by drawing on your ancestors. You can set up an ancestor altar, but I have really strong family ties just in life right now. I'm a family person. That's who I am. I speak to my mom every day. And I think that if it's something that's so important to me in the now and in the physical, then it has to be important to me in the spiritual. And so that's personally what I lean on. Also, I'm very willing to hide behind Ken at any point. So for a source of protection.
And this is the last question here. And truly, being able to see the passion between both you and Ken, both of your skill sets, and specifically your skill set with how to cleverly distribute content in a way that really appreciates the community that you're fostering. But for you specifically, where do you see your podcast in the next 5 years?
I'm not putting any expectations on it. I know that it'll do really well, but where it goes up to a certain point is not up to me. I'm just along for the ride, and I'm excited to see what happens. I think it's going to be great, and I don't know the ways in which it's going to be great, but I'm here for the adventure.
Awesome.
That's so awesome. And
Mistress Bee, you killed it.
Yeah. You both did a fantastic job, but I need like 50 seconds real quick. If you guys watch this or rewatch the Into the Abyss section here, okay, you're gonna see the passion, the dynamite between these two.
Definitely.
And their show is really gonna be fantastic. So.
Oh, there's a little one.
Who do we got? Ken?
This is Jackson. Say hi. He's shy.
He's like, no. He wanted to say hi to Dad, and that was it.
Oh, and
Teresa Slowinski, she says hi. She says to hide behind Ken. That's good advice.
He's huge, and he has an impressive deep voice. If you had to pick him, hide behind him.
That's awesome.
This is
What
the
were you gonna
one
say?
we're talking about, right?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Stolaz.
And he's so cute. Look at his tiny little legs.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, because I mean, you study art, and what about that's cute? Besides the legs, I mean, because
It's like, I
I'm
don't
not
see
much
it.
of an art critic, but you know, I maybe I'm not seeing. You know, is it? Are you looking at the same screen? Like what?
You have
Ken,
to
can you send me
understand-
the name of that deck?
Yes, I will.
All right.
You have to understand that I'm real far on the creepy side of things. I chose to study dead people by choice and paid a hefty fee to do so. So
She did.
my
She did.
cute is a little bit skewed towards the creepy side.
I respect it.
Now, Mistress B, I suggested Alex Gray. He's an artist and he puts a lot of spirituality, a lot of magic into his stuff. That's why I suggest his stuff. He also does he used to do a lot of the artwork for the band Tool, which is my favorite. So, I highly, if anyone's into spiritual artwork and things like that, Alex Gray is awesome. And you guys both talked about shielding, right? Sorry, changing subject. Brian had mentioned our investigation that we did at Madison Seminary. A lot of people know Madison Seminary at this place. It's a very, very active place. And there's known dark energies in this building. And we were doing these solos there. And I talked to Ken about this. I was nervous. And Ken had me put some hyssop and some sage in my shoe.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that. And I mean, I shielded the shit out of myself. Like I was like, I shielded. I put holy water on myself. After I ended up doing the holy water, I ended up putting holy water on the crucifix. I spilled some on my hand. I was just like
putting it on like average.
I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And then once we got there, I did my whole shielding. I called my spirit guys, and normally when I do an investigation, I do the intention of a like a glowing white shield and very inviting because I want spirits to come to me. When I went there, I did steel behind a brick wall. Like I am not joking. That's what my intentions were. Nothing's coming through this wall. I'm gonna be by myself in a scary place. And so ended up being a really quiet night. Is it possible? Now, I've always said that I always shield for an investigation. There's been times when I've saged before an investigation, and I've had more experiences. I've had more activity, but this night was different. I mean, granted, it was freezing cold. Like it was like bone chattering. Like it was freezing cold. So I'm sure that had something to do with the quietness of that night too. But could I have like way overdone the shielding to the point where not only did I keep myself from experiencing things, but I also kept Brian from experiencing things? Because I was like, I was doing a solo in Sarah's room. It's one room where there's known spirits, and I felt a spirit in the doorway to the point where it's like, this feels like a live person. So I looked, and of course there's no one there. And but why are they not interacting? It's because I probably way overdid the shielding. I mean, a lot of it was like, I was very negatively affected the first time I was ever in that building. That's why I was so nervous to be by myself. So that's why I kind of bring this up. Like, you bring up the shielding, but you can over shield. But can you make it so it affects other people too?
Absolutely. I think so. And the way you shielded, whoo, Lord have mercy, Jesus.
I wasn't messing around.
Man, you wasn't playing with it, baby.
No, I just wanted to do the experiment and be done. I'm not lying.
I think also being an empath sometimes works both ways. I think if you ever think about somebody that's a social butterfly, they're usually also an empath. And so just the way that you can feel everybody's emotions and stuff, you can also help change everybody's emotions. And so I think that by going into it with so much like, I don't want to see shit, you did not see shit. And you were crying.
I wanted to see it. I just didn't want to. Right. I just my concern was me being an empath and me opening up so much more spiritually. Like, what am I more vulnerable to? I didn't know what exactly could happen, and that unknown is what I was nervous about. So I was just like, you know, in what was that movie where people like to get one night to like kill people?
Oh, The Purge.
Yeah, The Purge. So like in those houses in The Purge where like they put like the steel doors down, like yeah, that was me for the night, because I just wanted to make it through. I was testing myself, but I felt like I was at a huge disadvantage because Brian, he doesn't feel any of this. He doesn't. He's like, yeah, whatever. He's like, I barely have experiences.
That's not.
Yeah, that's his attitude. So I'm like, but here's me, like, dude, I feel everything. Like, if something's like, so I don't know. Like,
here's.
I wanted to be at Brian's though. I wanted to be like, I didn't want to feel anything. I wanted to be there. You know,
my level is, let's go, and because some spirits are shy and they only want to communicate one-on-one versus large groups. Let's give us and the team the biggest opportunity to make some kind of spiritual connection and some kind of communication on any level and with different people. And there is no hiding here. I do all the solo runs. I go everywhere. I do whatever. It's just and maybe I'm just not the right person that they want to communicate with, but I am the right person for whatever spirit's out there in the future that does want to communicate with me, and I jazz it up so Shawn is excited enough to do this, and
no,
that sage was wearing off by the end of the night because on the last run,
I didn't even say
no, the sage in your shoes.
Oh no, that stuff was freaking.
It was freezing over. It was so cold.
I was poking my toes.
Because on the last night or the last run, I said, Shawn, you need to go communicate with the spirits at the top portion of Madison Seminary, but in like this like hall that everyone says has a negative energy. I said, Shawn, it's been such a quiet night. My friend, you are the empath. You are the leader here. You need to go talk to these spirits to see if they're okay. And he went up there and what happened, Shawn? Something was saying, don't go, man.
So,
you don't regret it.
All right. So I was up there. So there's this hallway, and I don't go into this hallway without I ask for permission before I go in. Because of previous experiences that I had. There's something very negative in there, and it affected things, and it was a very, very crazy experience. And so, anyways, I was sitting on a chair outside of this hallway, and I was like, well, Brian told me to go down this hallway over there. And then all of a sudden, it just like came to me like, no, don't. You're not welcome here. Don't come down here. That's legit what I felt. And I'm like, okay. And I said, oh, I acknowledged it. I'm like, okay, you don't want me going down there. I'm going to respect that. I'll sit here for a little bit longer. I'm like, but I got to get up and do something. So I got the camera and I started walking around this big room. And as I was walking, I was kind of like, it's a big, huge room, right? And so I'm walking back away from these like really big windows. And as I was walking, that feeling when like someone's like about to jump on you, you can like kind of like feel that like pounce, that like thing. Like I felt it about to come on my shoulders. Like I felt like someone coming on me like that on my shoulders. And I was like, nope. I'm like, okay, I get you. I got it. I'll leave. Because I felt like something bad was going to happen. And I was like, okay. So I listened to it and I left. And that was it.
I think
Nothing.
that
I don't know.
I think that as an empath, you have to use that because it's a gift. It can be a burden for sure
Ooh,
in,
yeah.
in any sort of context, but you have to use it. And I think that shutting it off, it's really, I mean, it's off-putting, you know, it's like, I don't know, it's kind of the same thing as like being spiritually standoffish, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they might have been trying to communicate with you, but you've got your walls up, you've got your arms crossed, you have like a spiritual body language of don't talk to me, please.
Well,
So
it wasn't don't talk to me. It was just don't come in to my space.
yeah.
So that's where I was at because I knew it was by myself. If it were just me and Brian, I mean, like I said, most of my investigations it's that glowing white light, and I it's all welcome. The intentions that I set for that investigation was let me know when they're around, but they're not. I don't want them in my space. I'm going to be by myself. I don't want them in my space. I don't want them to even think about attaching themselves to me or trying to affect me. So that's the intention that I had. I wanted to know they were there, and I did. I felt that they were there, right? But I wanted to have communication. I just didn't want them to cross this barrier because this barrier was my protection when I was alone. And so that's what it was about. It was all about when I was alone.
Yeah.
Because that was my first time doing like real big solos because I have a strict rule about doing it alone for several different reasons. One, for safety, because if someone gets hurt or something, then there's someone there to help. Two, if there's someone else to experience what you're experiencing with you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just my word saying, oh my gosh, this crazy thing happened. No, it didn't. And then there's also the spiritual safety. So I just not something I've done a lot. And so I really pushed myself to the limits. So this is my first time. That's why it's like, you know, that first time kind of going in to something that, I mean, I don't know. I didn't know what to expect. Madison, if it were any other location, I don't think I would have shielded as much. I just know what is possible at this location. There have been known possessions, or I don't even know if possessions are a word. Of spirit oppression that has happened there. There's been all sorts of different things that happened. And me being an empath, I am more susceptible to those types of things happening.
Absolutely.
So, right, and being alone, like that's the whole thing. Like it was that, and I probably did overthink a little bit of it, and I know that now. I think next time I know I don't need to do as much.
Yeah, I think you could alter your kind of intention a little bit to something like a gate, like a magic or a protective gate that you can only get through if you have good intentions. If you have the key card of just wanting to communicate and be heard and be felt, you can come on through. But if you have any sort of negative intentions, even something as minor as, tripping you or pushing you or scratching you or something that's not potentially life-threatening or life-altering, you can't come through at all.
Honestly, that's pretty close to what I do when I go in. Nothing negative is allowed in or out of my space, but I want to be able to communicate. And that's
PSA.
Yeah, so I just do, and I do the glowing white light, so I'm more approachable. That night, I definitely made myself not approachable, and I did do it intentionally. So I just know that next time, I had the strength to protect myself without all that shielding. I could put that shielding up in a moment's notice, right? I can protect myself. I don't need to go through all that. But I feel like I needed to go through that to realize that. I didn't know that I had the strength to shield like that. I always kind of felt like grounding and shielding was something I needed to work on. It was kind of like a weakness of mine. And I feel like I kind of proved to myself that my grounding and shielding have really gotten a lot stronger. And it is actually a strength of mine and not a weakness. And I needed that night to show me that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
So next time I don't think I'll need to do that. But I mean, I needed to prove that to myself, you know? So
if I may say, and I was just thinking about it, you know, you and Brian, that's what you guys do. You're paranormal investigators. Me and B, we practice magic. We practice sorcery. You go to places where spirits are. We call spirits to us in a controlled environment. You go looking for them. We call them to come to us.
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
Just that crossroads there is kind of interesting.
That really is. That really is interesting.
I mean, I don't have to leave my house.
But you also aren't looking to get the same type of evidence or findings that we're trying to get, right? We're trying to get the EVPs. We're trying to get the apparitions. We're trying to get something that so we can try and share. Whereas you're doing it, it's more of a, for lack of better terms, like a religious type of ceremony. It's a spiritual thing. Or
it's out of pure selfishness. Because yes, there are times when I need to be selfish, and if I need a spirit to do something, damn it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm not ashamed to say I'm going to do it.
Well, I think in life with survival, there's a time where as giving as we all want to be, like it or not, harsh reality of life is there's times when you have to be selfish.
Absolutely.
You just have to be. And that's just a part of survival in life. And it's with any creature, with anybody. I don't know. I've never gone, and I mean, I guess like you go and you pray and you ask for things. I asked for protection. So I guess that's kind of the same thing, right?
Well,
you're asking.
I think that the main difference is that you guys are looking for evidence and we're looking for results. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You guys are looking to prove that it exists and we're looking for changes to be made. And that is kind of our own evidence. Just like Ken said, you know, he calls upon somebody and he's asking for financial help, wins $500. That's the kind of evidence that we gather. We're looking for those results. Whereas you guys are looking for, I guess I would say, more existence and proof of existence.
Mm-hmm. Right. You guys already know it's there. You're not trying to prove it.
You guys, you don't have to prove it to each other. You guys already know.
Yep.
Right.
We're bending it to our will.
Right. Yeah. And just for the record, I'm serious about this, Shawn. I would literally do a solo investigation naked. I would.
See, if I were to do that, I wouldn't need the shield at all because they'd be too scared. They'd be like, "Ew, what's that?"
I would do
it. I mean, so you're talking about putting yourself in the most vulnerable, right, position of a human being that's being in the nude. That's in the human psyche. That is the most physically vulnerable way you could be.
Absolutely. And I would do it in a minute.
Especially if it's a cold night.
I dare anybody to pay for me to go on an investigation and do a solo naked. I'll do it.
I got 5 on it. I'm not going to watch it. I'll just listen to the audio. But I got
it'll be blurred out. It'll be blurred out.
Oh, Teresa. Teresa wants to know what would be the point of doing that.
The vulnerability, like you said.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
there's actually going to be a TV show. They years ago, they were trying to get people to be on a paranormal show where people investigated naked.
Okay, it's Naked and Afraid, but with tons of ghosts.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys have been in a lot of these locations that we go into as investigators. they're dirty. Like I don't know if you ever been naked on a beach before. Like you get sand, even when you're not naked on a beach, you get sand in places you never thought could ever get sanded. Imagine getting this nasty, crusty ass old jail dirt in your cracks and crevices. I don't know. That scares me more than the spirit.
Now see the jail dirt. That's the stuff me and B would collect in a jar, take home, and use for sorcery.
Absolutely.
But you're not trying to get it in your cracks and crevices.
No, at that point, you know how at the end of Naked and Afraid, they're all super dirty. They've got leaves in their hair. They've made shoes out of palm fronds. Ken and I are going to come out just head to toe, painted in filth.
That's awesome.
I don't know. That's the thing that I don't know. Like I would think about like I love being outdoors. I don't mind getting in the dirt, but there's something about some of these old places. I don't know if it's the thought of asbestos. I don't know if it's the thought of whatever other bacteria might be there. But that's what I think of when I go into some of these places. It's like I don't want to touch that. That's gross.
And so I don't know if you two are watching the comments like us. They're awesome. We've got
I can't see them.
maybe try some PJs, but it's
That's what sex magic in jail dirt would work best.
hey, that's that cross. That's the two worlds coming together.
Oh,
Right.
Lord.
It's the most scientific method. Everyone's agreeing with you and thinking that you guys got good points. Here's something. Madison Seminary had this is the fourth time I've been there, and it's the first time I've noticed. And the mirrors were covered up. And let me see.
Yeah, we have a question about mirrors.
Aaron wanted to know, Ken, how do you feel about mirrors? And I'm also asking because you brought up bathrooms. Is there any correlation?
Oh yeah.
Challenge Shawn to the naked solo run, but yeah. So
Ew. You don't
Ken,
no one wants to see that. I'm telling you, like that. That'll close all doors. I'm telling you.
So
the spirits will leave those buildings, and then all the paranormal investigators will be pissed off going forward because I done scared them all away.
No,
they're not going to cross over. They're just going to go away.
It'll be fine. Just helicopter it, have a little fun. They'll
go.
I'm not talking about. I'm talking about.
He can go TikTok live now, but for you two,
I can.
This is the weird thing because like the mirrors were covered up. So the question is to you two: how do you guys feel about mirrors? And then of course, is there any correlation to seeing the djinn in the bathroom with potentially mirrors being in there?
Yeah. Okay. First of all, I love mirrors. I love working with black mirrors. I use black mirrors to scry and to make contact with not just dead humans, but demonic entities and angelic entities. There you go, Shawn. Spirits, especially non-human spirits, can use mirrors as portals to go back and forth. So there's no doubt in my mind that the djinn was using that to cross from his dimension into our dimension. So yes, the mirrors can act as a portal. Absolutely.
Is that black obsidian?
Yes.
Nice. That was mine.
Very thick.
Yeah, see, I learned a long time ago about the mirrors thing, and like I said, I'm a scaredy cat, so I seal all my mirrors in the house, and I'm very much, there's a lot of feng shui basis that I learned a long time ago that has a little bit of magical correlation, like don't put a mirror across from your bed, and that's because like a lot of times when you sleep, your defenses are down, and I mean, we've all heard about paranormal activity when you're sleeping, and I can't remember the word for it right now, like night terrors and sleep paralysis and stuff like that. And if you're also just going to add a portal across from that, like, what are you doing? So I seal all of my mirrors in the house with whatever I feel is protective. You know, holy water. You can draw sigils in different oils. You can cleanse them regularly because I don't play with that yet.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, because of experiences that I had before I got into paranormal, I, to this day, do not have a mirror in my bedroom. And my wife is awesome and supports that. I feel like mirrors are our doorway. I had a mirror. It's like my bed was like here, and there was a mirror like here. And there was something that definitely came into my room, and you could feel it, man. And I don't know. So yeah, but I'm okay with, like, if I'm asking for the communication, I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's I never even knew to like close off a mirror like that. Like, I didn't even know that was like a thing. But I'm still not gonna try it because I don't want a mirror in my bedroom. And
Nope.
but yeah, that's I don't know. I've experienced it too many times. So, and there is a times when I would like I would like halfway expect there to be like some sort of a message like written in the steam after a shower.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't experienced it yet. Now, as an adult and being a paranormal investigator, I would think that would be the coolest shit ever. But like in my imagination as a young kid, expecting that to happen, I don't even know where I got that idea from. But I always would expect that. And
Well, I think that there's a lot of it. It's a common horror movie trope. You know, there's
It
always
is.
something in the bathroom mirror. And I think that the reason why it works as a trope is because there's so much truth in it. And that's why a lot of stereotypes work, is because there is some truth towards them at some point. Some of the horrible stereotypes, not necessarily, but especially like movie stereotypes, so many people are able to identify with that. And so you have to realize, okay, why are all of us afraid of the same thing? What's the truth behind it? Like, clearly we're all afraid of sharks because they have rows and rows of teeth and they swim in something that we can't breathe in. But what is a correlation with all of these paranormal and occult things? Where's the truth and the fear there?
And that's something that needs to be addressed 100%, because there are certain things that people are afraid of, and a lot of it is because of misinformation, and it's from Hollywood. I have friends that collect Ouija boards or spirit boards, and then there's other people who are dead set against them. And I think that, I mean, the Ouija board started out with a shot glass and writing letters on a napkin, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now here it is, what it is today. And so it's really kind of, it has that power because we give it to it, right? Can a Ouija board be like a gateway or a doorway? Can it open a doorway? Is there any truth to the fears that people have on these spirit boards?
I actually believe that they can be a doorway. Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's whatever
and
you.
I think a spirit box can be a doorway too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's whatever you open yourself up to. If you're willing to play, you're opening your door up. Just like you always guard yourself as an empath, this is very much the same thing. It's like playing dodgeball. If you're playing dodgeball, you're opening yourself up to getting smacked in the face.
That's true. That's the truth. When I say, once you walk through this paranormal doorway, right? Once you become an investigator, once you open this doorway, there's no leaving. That door is always open. You could leave the paranormal field and not ask for the communication, not have it be a part of your life, but that door is still open and it's gonna come back at some point in time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way it is. And it may not be bad, but you've opened that doorway. You've opened yourself up to it. And so it's just one of those things. And so it's important for people to know. I don't think people really understand the how the paranormal and how the supernatural can really, how real it is and how much it really does affect.
Mm-hmm. It's like if you call out, now they have your number.
Yep.
You may not call them again, but they still have your number.
Yep. And they will call again.
Mm-hmm.
So you both are showing off these black mirrors. Love the show, by the way. But what's the difference between like an actual physical black mirror versus just like regular mirrors?
I have this one too.
Well, black mirrors have been used for thousands of years for spirit communication specifically. It started out with ancestors. I know it goes back to Stone Age man. I know it goes back that far.
Yeah, people scry with the black mirrors. They scry with water, right? They scry.
Yeah, you can do
crystal
the
balls.
same thing. You can do the same thing with the regular mirror, but the black mirror is more effective.
Mhm.
Because
Now,
if you
would
just
you-
think about it logically, there's so much less kind of background info to sift through, you know, because it is a black mirror. You're not
Right.
looking into your own reflection as much. You're not looking into your background, that sort of thing. Is that even if you just think about it on a logical, it's so much more drilled in.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. You don't have to filter out as much crap in the background. Absolutely.
Mm.
Here, Aaron wants to know if you were to go, if you have used petrified moss.
I've seen it, but I haven't used it yet. I'm still a relative beginner, but I have it written down on my little notebook, so I'm getting some, and we're gonna find out.
I'm interested. My pendulum is actually wood. I've always had a connection to trees in the forest, so it just kind of like made sense for me to. I don't know if I still. Yep, it's right here. So I have my pendulum here. It's wood.
Oh, that's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Where do you get a black mirror? And small caveat here, though I think it's really fun to get equipment such as black mirrors, etc. But to hop in the world of magic or paranormal, you don't need everything, and you don't need to spend like buku bucks.
That's
Just
right.
being like for magic, just being there and calling the spirits to you, or in the paranormal field, going out and trying to help spirits, in any capacity, whether it's turn your phone on airplane mode, do not disturb, get the recorder app, that's a free way, and you're just going there to be helpful. But that was just my quick side note. If someone wants to get a black mirror for themselves, team, where would you go?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Today, the way things are, I get everything on Amazon.
I was going to say Amazon.
Yeah.
I have a metaphysical store that I like to go to, but they don't have scrying mirrors. They have the Himalayan singing bowl. There's my two next big purchases. One's going to be the Himalayan singing bowl, and I want a Archangel Michael statue for my little altar here. I
Shawn,
don't know.
I saw a picture of all the herbs and stuff on the shelf in that store. So next time you go, let me know, because I'm putting in an order.
That place is crazy, right? That place is about 45 minutes away from me. I just learned about that place, and they had a stone called Tektite there.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I have it here. I have the shelf. So these are my two non-cleansed stones. So this is little Tektite. It's a piece of it's like a piece of meteorite, right? It's supposed. They compared it to. Oh, you're gonna put it on here.
Yeah.
They compared it to moldavite,
Mm-hmm.
and so this store they didn't have moldavite, so they told me to get this Tektite. I'm like, what? I'm gonna get.
Sorry. Oh my gosh.
Surprise.
All right. What was the other stone?
Oh, this is it's a lapis. Ken told me.
Oh yes.
But Ken also told me to get moldavite. That's what's around my neck now.
Mm-hmm.
So, actually, interesting story. So Ken told me to get this moldavite, right? So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go. I was on a mission. I went when I was with my friend Amber. We went first to Ohio State Reformatory. We did a day tour there, and then we went to these metaphysical stores. We went to the one where they had that wall of herbs and and other things. And I just heard a whisper. Did anyone just whisper?
That was me. Sorry.
Okay, no
I
problem.
got excited. We were talking about herbs. Yeah.
And so we ended up. They didn't have the Moldavite. So we went to this other store, and they had a white Moldavite. I'm like, holy shit, what is this white? I never heard of white Moldavite. So I got this white Moldavite, and Ken was like, no, stick with the regular Moldavite. He's like, I'm like, no, I really feel this stone calling to me, so I got it. And this is that stone.
Oh my gosh! Wait.
It is beautiful.
I mean, I have never felt a stone with this kind of energy. If I can get clear.
Here, I'll teach you. Beauty YouTubers, you put your hand up and then you put the thing in front of it, and that's how you get a clear picture.
So,
okay.
yeah. I've never felt a stone with this kind of energy before. I haven't. I can't even hold it for that long. I really can't. I can't hold it for that long. It's too much. Honestly, when I'm not wearing this, I have this little box that a friend made for me.
You know, there's a legend about the green Moldavite that you might be interested in when you're done. I'll let you finish.
I got the green Moldavite, and then it was my birthday week. I got birthday money from family. I'm like, dude, I can get the other Moldavite I was supposed to get. So I went back to the store and I got Moldavite, and that's what I'm wearing now around my neck here. And so it's everything right now. I think my crystals, like I have a lot of crystals for shielding. I have a lot of crystals for charging. I have a lot of crystals, almost everything. But right now, I think it's like I'm opening up, right? So I think that's why I'm so attracted to these stones for opening up spiritually. What I thought was really cool about the Tektite is that they said that this stone actually helps connect with like alien energy.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
I've heard that many times before. Yeah.
I'm like, holy crap. There's an investigation that have coming up, and I'm trying to figure out what's there. What's at this location? It's a very well-known location. A lot of people say it's a demon. I don't think that it's a demon. It is a non-human entity, and it's a place called the Monroe House. I think I'm going to have this in my little cage, or maybe I'll get a cage for this, and I'll try and connect with it, because I know it's not. I don't know. Something just tells me it's not demonic, but it's definitely not human. So I don't know what it could be. Some sort of interdimensional being. So the being what I saw had like a really big grin. You know, have you ever seen? I don't know if you guys are into anime at all, but there's one called Death Note.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a really big grin.
Yeah.
Right? So he has a really big grin. That's what he looked like. He had this really big smile, but he had like these lines, almost like scars all over his face. And he had really long arms and legs. I don't know what he was, but that's what I saw. It was like,
you know, you and I talked about this on the phone at length one night.
Yeah.
For like 2 hours, we talked about this. And based on what you told me, I agree with you 100%. Any other time, I would peg it for a demon. But in this case, no, I think it's simply an interdimensional being who's trying to be more human and trying not to scare you away. But no, I don't think it's a demon at all.
I think it's stuck there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that it's stuck there. I think that it was summoned there by some sort of ritual, and it was brought there on accident, and now it's trapped.
Yeah.
That's my theory. But I mean, a lot of people, they still believe that it's demonic. Here's the thing: they go to people go to here, and people have been physically injured, like picked up and thrown. But people go there, and they're going there and they're antagonizing it.
Yeah,
they're pushing it. They're calling it a demon. They're calling it out. They're being rude to it. They're being disrespectful to it in its space. What's it going to do? So that's why I think a lot of people think it's demonic, because people go in there expecting it to be demonic, and they've labeled it as that, and so it kind of gets. Oh, hold on. It was a shamanic god.
He was a Shinigami.
Shinigami
in Death Note.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
yes. You're
Blue
correct.
spiky hair.
Yes, that is correct. That is what he was in Death Note. That's a really, if you are anywhat into animation, Death Note is a really cool story. It's about a demon that's attached to this notebook, and whoever they write down in there in his book died. And you could write down how they died.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool. I don't like to give too much information out because I want you to go and watch it. It's really, I don't know. I love anime stuff, so. It's a djinn. Teresa thinks it's a djinn. Maybe.
Could be.
Have you guys ever thought about, after you do a paranormal investigation, if you see something or if you have guests on that have had paranormal experiences, bringing in like a police sketch artist or something to really draw these things out and to be able to show people, because they can work on the vaguest descriptions and create a whole portrait of somebody in 15 minutes. So that might be something really interesting, especially when you're talking about the paranormal, where you don't have an image of it, but somebody has seen it.
It's funny that you say that, because after I had that experience there, I wish that I did have someone I could talk to for that. What happened was I was sorry, I was reading a message there. So we had just finished investigating there, and we were sleeping there, and I was just like in that state, like right before I fell asleep. Mm-hmm. And I kind of like had this vision, and that's, if I get a vision, that's when it always happens. It's when I'm in this state. And I didn't know we had another show after us, Chris. Okay, we'll make sure to go. Sorry, I did not know. Christopher, if we do go over, you can still go live, but we'll make sure to end this quickly. I did not know if there's a show after us. I was not aware. So, anyways, that's when I saw it. And long story short, I was in a vision. He showed himself to me. He gave me that vision. And that's kind of where that came from. So I would love to have it sketched out and see where that comes from. So as Christopher Gates pointed out,
and real quick, I would recommend for like a paranormal group to record people's experiences and their descriptions, and then go to the artist, because having an audio recording of the most description they can have, then you can go use like the police sketcher or like Fiverr or someone who's talented like that. But that's a great idea, just so
Yeah,
but
definitely.
these last like 5 minutes, we want to be for you guys.
Yes, we do. When is your show coming on? What is your first show? What days can we look for you guys? How are we going to find your show?
Okay. You want to take it, or do you want me to take it?
Go for it.
First show is February 27th, Saturday at 6 p.m. We are interviewing a sorcerer from Australia, from the land down under, who works with demons. And his I don't know what name he wants to use, so I'm not going to put his name out there yet. But the hours are going to be from 6 to 8 Saturdays. And first one's February 27th. Yeah. I'm really excited.
I'm excited too. If you want to get more information, we're on Facebook at the Wizard's Table. We have a page set up. I'm working on getting other social media set up, but right now we're on Facebook, so look for us there.
Yep. The Wizard's Table.
Awesome. Guys, thank you so much for coming on. We
Absolutely.
we need to do a follow-up after you guys start up, and man, thank you. Welcome to the RU Media family. We are honored.
I'm excited.
First ones to say that.
Yeah, I'm privileged to be on RU Media. I've been treated very well here.
Well, thank you. We hope that you continue to like it. We're happy to have you. I know I was talking to David Wollover. He's very excited to see what you guys bring to the table. I know, we just know it's going to be awesome. We're just so excited. It's going to be different, and it's going to be
extreme.
A lot to learn. And we need that. We need that, and we need to learn. We need to. I mean, there's so much stuff that people need to be educated on. And Ken, you are a great teacher. Mistress B, I could tell that you are a very intelligent person, and very, very easy to listen to. So this is going to be an awesome show. I'm really excited.
I do want to say that on one of our shows, me and her will be getting together on one of our later shows, and we will summon a goetic spirit on our show.
This is news to me, but I'm down. Let's go.
She didn't need to. She didn't need to know. She doesn't need to know. We're just gonna do it. She can learn as we go.
That's pretty much my plan. I'm gonna roll with it.
As above, so below.
There you go. So what's, I don't know, maybe like one last, like, if there was a message to your community right now, I mean, you're all jazzed up about the show. For both of you, what's your one message you want to get out to the community as of today?
There's a lot to hold into that. I think it's probably along the lines of get ready to be on the edge of your chair. There's a lot that you don't know about, and we're bringing it to you.
That's right.
Awesome. Love it. Hey,
I'm just picking up on these comments, and they're so sweet. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. I was reading them too.
All right, guys, this is the Wizard's Table. Be very afraid. And with that, everybody, thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in. I hope that we helped you guys over this hump day and help you guys slide into the weekend and enjoy the rest of this week. And we will see you guys next week with another awesome guest. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And, everyone stay safe, stay healthy. And thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
This paranormal adventure that we're all on, it connects us. This is our paranormal community. This is our paranormal podcast with your host, Shawn Gilmore.
He's worked in the paranormal field for 10 years.
He was featured on the TV show Paranormal Survivor that airs on Travel Channel.
His passion is creating para-unity.
With your host, Brian Mursell.
He's worked in the paranormal field for 7 years.
He leads his own paranormal team.
He wants to help people start their paranormal adventure or grow their existing one. This is our paranormal adventure. This is our paranormal community. This is our paranormal podcast.
It's about supporting. It's about making para-unity a real thing, because we all need to support each other within our community. And that's what the show has always been about.